Hey everyone, so I'm back with another video. I know it's been a long time. I did plan to make more this year, but it's just been a crazy year for so many reasons, and we had COVID, and I know it's been heavy for all of us and an intense year for all of us, but here I am just to give you guys another update on how I'm going and how things are with the cancer remission and just living with my side effects. So in terms of cancer remission stuff, I'm nearly at 5 years of being in remission. So in February 2021, I think, should mark 5 years if I have remembered correctly. I'm pretty sure I got diagnosed in 2015, started chemo then, and finished chemotherapy early 2016. It's just hard to think that it was like 5 years have passed of recovery. In one way, cancer does feel like a lifetime ago, and at the same time, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago because I still live with the side effects now, and I will talk to that a fair bit today because, you know, fatigue still messes me up in all kinds of ways even now, and I know it's going to affect my entire life in one way or the other unless it completely heals at one point, but at this point it doesn't look like it will completely heal. So yeah, I'm super excited obviously and really happy that I'm reaching 5 years of remission. So happy that my Hodgkin's lymphoma hasn't come back and that I haven't had any other cancers. But it's kind of hard to really enjoy the victory when the impact of that time and the trauma of that time still bleeds into today. So as far as I know, when I get to 5 years, I don't think I keep seeing the hematologist. I think I just do regular checkups with my GP, but I'll check with my hematologist if that's what they normally do. Because I think at 5 years, they deem that you are probably just as, your risk is so low now to have the cancer again, that they kind of just consider you as part of the general population, so they no longer need to, regularly see you or see you every 6 months. But I know for me, I will keep seeing my GP at the very least yearly, just to check my bloods and just to check, do a physical checkup to make sure that I don't have any more lumps or anything like that. Some people might not feel like they need to do those regular checkups, but for me, they just give me a bit of peace of mind. But yeah, so February, that should be the last of my Hodgkin's lymphoma checkups, and that will be 5 years of remission, which is really exciting. I haven't had any issues regarding lymphoma. About maybe in the middle of the year, I did feel like I had a tiny little lump in my breast, which freaked me out. And I went to see the doctor and we did an ultrasound. They said it looked like a fibro something, some kind of benign cyst that a lot of women get in their breasts. And so it's not a really big deal, but still, because of my history, they wanted to monitor it. So we got an ultrasound 6 months after. So that was maybe about a month or so ago. And the cyst thing had grown a tiny amount, but it still looks like it's benign, and it still looks like it's one of those fibro thingamajiggies. But my doctor and myself included still wanted a biopsy. So I've got a specialist appointment in about a week and a half to talk to a breast cancer specialist to talk about my history and to get the biopsy done. And if they don't want to do it, I'm going to push for the biopsy because I just don't feel comfortable not getting a biopsy, especially with my history, especially because things can get missed sometimes in ultrasounds. And the only way to know that it is benign is to get a biopsy. And my partner, he actually had a friend about a year ago die. And so she was in her mid-30s and she died of breast cancer because it wasn't picked up early enough. She found a lump. They said it was benign. She didn't get a biopsy and it ended up, getting worse and worse and worse. And it was too late to address the cancer once they actually figured out that it was a cancer. So I know the doctors usually are right, and, we have to also trust in statistics, but at the end of the day, there's still some risk. The statistics aren't saying that there is no chance that it's something more malicious or malignant. So for me, I'm going to get that biopsy. And I think what I've realized as well, especially post-cancer, is that even with my own history, even with doctors seeing my history, people don't necessarily do all the follow-up checkups that I want. Sometimes I have to ask for them. And so you have to really be an advocate for your own health and your own body and your own checkups, because at the end of the day, no one's going to take care of you as well as you're going to take care of you. So yeah, depending on how the specialist appointment goes, we'll see what happens, but I'm going to push for the biopsy and I'll let you guys know what happens with that. I'm not too worried about it at the moment just because it has all the signs that it's just a cyst, and I have friends who have cysts, all those things in their breasts, and it's no problem. So I'm assuming it's one of those things, but still, I still want to get it checked. So I'm still nervous about the appointment and the biopsy. So that's all like the hard cancer stuff. This year, I really did plan to make a few videos, just a handful. It just did not happen. I really feel like I've started to emotionally burn out this year. It's just been really hard this last month. Since finishing my master's degree and submitting my thesis, I have felt like the weight of the year really hit me. It's hit me at different points in the year, but I feel like now I'm looking back and being like, whoa, this year was so intense. It was so heavy. No wonder I had no time to write. No wonder I had no time to make these videos. My head was just in so many different places, and I had fatigue on top all the time, just exhausting me. So like I said in one of, my last videos, that like I split up with my ex who I'd been with for 10 years, who was with me during the cancer process. And we broke up because I found out he'd been cheating on me with people online. And so that ended really abruptly, and that was really traumatic. And that happened kind of like early last year. And then I got with my new partner a couple of months after that. And so this year was kind of like, I guess, the year of us coming together and, uniting our lives and building a life together, which has been really wonderful, but also really hard. And a lot of the reason why it's been hard is that, it's been a hard year with COVID and like my degree. And, he's also doing the same degree. So that's been really intense, and with work, but it's also been my fatigue because he has 3 small children from, his last relationship, and he was still finishing his separation, going through separation when we started our relationship. Him and his ex were split, but separation when you've got kids can be a lengthy process. And so it was just so emotionally draining the entire year. COVID, was on top of that. We have the kids just under 50% of the time, like 6 nights a fortnight. It's pretty much 50% of the time. And, like I love them and I'm getting so attached to them. And yet it's so hard to strategize my week and to take care of myself and to work and to finish my study and to have creative time when I feel like I'm either in a state of exhaustion or recovering from my exhaustion. And there are so many factors. Like I said, the year has been really intense, and my master's took a lot of mental headspace and all that. But part of it is also that, we've got the kids, and kids are really just draining. That's just what they are, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with kids being intense, because kids have that energy and they need a lot of care and they have a lot of needs, and that's okay. But it's really hard when you're living with this kind of, mild disability, when you've got a type of chronic fatigue, because it can feel like you're never ever in a place of true wellness, because you're just either exhausted or chasing, or recovering from the exhaustion. And I think I've realized that for a fair bit of the year, I've been in that cycle, in that state, in a vicious cycle where I can't really get out. I'm either exhausted and I feel kind of dead to the world and I have no capacity to be creative or do things that I really want to do. I don't even have energy to walk. I'm having to sleep 10, 11, 12 hours a night just to feel okay, not to feel completely like bedridden. Or I'm just starting to recover. And then, maybe the kids come over or something happens with work or uni, and I've just been getting really frustrated at my fatigue because, yes, of course, it's been a hard year and there've been a lot of things that for anyone would be a lot, but I know that I have, my capacity to recover is limited. And I struggle to bounce back as fast as like my partner does after we've had the kids for a long time or we've had a stressful time at uni. And it's just been making me, really resent the body that I'm in. And so I think I need to like really reflect on that and just strategize more with my partner around like the life that we're building and how do we manage our responsibilities and our work and our career and our creative pursuits and my body and my fatigue. Like we talk a lot about my fatigue and my light sensitivity. The kids know that I struggle with light and I struggle with noise, and I don't know, it just makes me feel like a burden all the time, having to constantly have these conversations, and it's just been really getting to me. And the fatigue, has affected me in a way that I didn't think it would. It's kind of made me realize like, oh my God, I really can't choose a partner just based on love. Like I also have to think about so many practical things, and it has to work in a really practical way. Our lives, we don't just come as individual people in vacuums. We come with our own lives and our own history and our own trauma, and to come together and try to weave a world together, sometimes that's not possible. And me and my partner aren't at that stage, but we are currently in a lot of discussions around my fatigue. We've been having lots of conversations about it this whole year, and how do we balance wellness for us as individuals and as a couple and as a family. And it's just so difficult. And the other thing is, not only do we have his 3 beautiful children, but I've always been pretty ambivalent about having children, but since being with my current partner and being involved in some aspects of parenting, it has made me think, okay, maybe I could have 1 child. Maybe that would be really wonderful. Like I wouldn't need the child necessarily. Like if it doesn't work out and I'm infertile, that's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay. I know that I can be happy without my own biological children, but at the same time, I feel like maybe I would regret not having 1 child if I had the right partner and, my body allowed me to. So that's something that is like a whole new thing to consider, because it'd be something that I'd have to try, in the next 2-3 years because of my age. I'd be, 30 in 2 years. I've got chemo, so I don't know what damage, I've had chemo done, so I don't know what damage that's done on my reproductive system. And then I have to think about all the practicalities with my partner and the kids that, we already have. And is that possible? Is it possible with my fatigue, with his kids, with the possibility of another child? Is that possible and practical? And so it's been really frustrating to have to consider my fatigue in this context and realize just what a burden it is, how much it can be a barrier, and so many choices that I try to make in my life. And I know I can't look at it in that way. I need to work with my body rather than just dragging it behind me the whole time. But it just sucks. It sucks so much when you realize that there are a whole bunch of choices that could be taken away from you. Or, for example, if me and my partner realize actually we can't problem solve and we can't strategize a way for us to live in harmony together, given, his children and his responsibilities and, the career that we both want. And if I decide that I do want a child and I've realized the amount of support that I need and I would need heaps from my partner, then maybe we wouldn't work. Maybe the practicalities aren't enough, are too much. That love isn't enough in that situation, and compatibility between 2 people isn't enough, and that my fatigue has become a massive barrier and it took that love away from me. That's really horrible to think about. And I just, I know it's part of human nature, but we hate choices and options taken away from us, or, our options to be so constricted that we really only have 2 when other people have like 10 options to choose from. And yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about that in terms of my fatigue and light sensitivity this year, and it really sucks. And I need to do a lot more reflecting and thinking and strategizing with my partner over the next few months and 6 months to really potentially make some big life decisions. So it just sucks. Yeah, there's just been a lot of sucky things to have to think about and process. And yeah, just at work, I continue to just have the lights off. I often live in like a dark space at home. I just have lamps on at night. When I'm at work, I often have a dark office. People always ask me like, oh, why don't you have the light on? And I just give a reason around my migraines. I still feel really guilty when I take a sick day because I'm fatigued or exhausted like today. I just thought, and my partner told me just to take the day off because I had a rubbish sleep. I didn't get my 10 hours of sleep, and I haven't been getting my 10 hours of sleep each night. So it's just, I don't feel great. So I continue to manage my fatigue in that way, and that's really good. Sleep, I know, is so important for me. Walking is another really important thing for me. And I've actually been taking ginseng, I think it's 5,000 milligrams. It's 1 tablet. 5,000 I think is in 1 tablet, and the bottle suggests 1 to 2 tablets. So on days that I feel like I'm pretty exhausted, I'll take 2 tablets of ginseng, and then on every other day I'll just take 1 tablet. And I actually feel like that has helped. I've been doing that for most of the year because I was struggling, with my partner and our schedules and COVID and everything, and I was really exhausted all the time. And I remember doing some research and finding that there were actually some interesting studies being done on ginseng. I don't think they found anything super conclusive, but it looks like it's like a research area that's developing where there is actually like some scientific rigor being put into ginseng. I think because there's enough anecdotal evidence that it can help some people. So yeah, I started taking that and I do think it helps. Like it doesn't take away the fatigue, obviously, but I feel like during the day, I'm just a bit more alert, a bit more present, less foggy in my brain if I haven't had the best sleep. And I do know that once I took it late at night, and I just couldn't sleep for ages. I felt like my brain was just wired. So yeah, I do think it does something to activate me in some way. But yeah, it won't change your life, but I do recommend trying it if you struggle with exhaustion and you aren't taking any supplements right now. I definitely feel like I'm getting better. I think one way to know that I am is that I'm making one of these videos. I've got more time to write, so I'm writing. So that's really wonderful. I feel like, you know, my body's healing and my mind is healing after the really heavy year. But I also think I need to like remind myself that it was a really intense year. We had a global pandemic. I was finishing my master's, which was really intense. It's an intensive master's, and that was just such a big weight on my shoulders. And it's hard to expect myself to do more than just that and live the life that I was living. But I was expecting more from myself. So I know I need to look at my own expectations around that. But I felt like I was in a perpetual state of exhaustion. But now I'm done with that degree. I'm really excited. Hopefully I just need to, I'm just waiting for my thesis to come back. And hopefully I only have to make some minor revisions, which is really exciting. But I just want more headspace. I want more headspace to write and be creative and make videos and kind of work on longer term goals and to be well. So anyway, at the moment I'm doing that. I'm feeling better now. So maybe if you're lucky, if I have the time, I might make one more video before the end of the year. If not, I do plan to make more next year. It just didn't happen this last year. So I hope you guys have all been well. I know my heart went out when we were, having the global pandemic. I know we're still in it. I only speak about it as a past thing because I live in Australia and I live in a smaller city, and I'm really lucky that it hasn't really been a big thing for us. Obviously, we have a whole bunch of social distancing measures and life isn't exactly back to normal, but it pretty much is compared to how life was like in March. So we're really lucky here in Australia, and in particular in the city that I live in. But yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about cancer patients during this time, especially during like the peak in Australia in March and in Melbourne recently. And then, just thinking about the world and thinking about all the cancer patients that are going through chemotherapy right now and having to fear not only the flu, but also COVID, and just thinking about all the illnesses that can get to them. And it's such a scary time going through cancer treatment, and they tell you a lot about how your immune system, is reduced and compromised. And I just think it's so horrible. And it's already an isolating time, and imagine to be even more isolated because of COVID restrictions in your country. It's so horrible. So my heart really goes out to anyone who's a cancer patient or has a compromised immune system, who's going through treatment or has finished treatment, but is still vulnerable. I'm sending you strength and love. So please tell me down below how much of a garbage fire, dumpster fire 2020 was for you. Tell me, did you burn out? Are you burning out? Will you burn out in the near future? Can you feel it coming? I just want to know how you guys have been, and I've really missed interacting with you. And I hope you guys have all been well on your own cancer and health journeys. And fingers crossed 2021 will be a better year for all of us. So please take care, and thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.